How you doing? My name's Dave, and here's the first episode of my Kerbal Space Program version 1.0 career mode. So if you're watching this, you've probably seen a couple other of my videos or something, so I'll skip a bunch of the intro stuff and just get started. So I'm going to start a brand new career. And I prefer the retro flag, so we'll take that and we'll keep it on normal, and let's get started. So when you start a new game, Gene always meets you, gives you a bunch of information. So I played this a few times, but if you press and hold right click, you can kind of spin around the Kerbal Space Center, old dirt runway. Everything can be upgraded, but has a cost associated with it. So if you right click on it, it'll tell you what it does, if it's operational, because you can destroy, damage the buildings, you have to rebuild, and that costs funds. And then if you hover over the upgrade button, it'll tell you what that upgrade will give you. So we have the tracking station. This is science, research, and development. The astronaut complex, tracking station, VAB, launch pad, spaceplane hangar, or plane hangar. You don't have to make space planes. You can just make regular planes. Strategies and mission control. So mission control, we have altitude records, speed records, distance records. These kind of reset, so they're kind of automatic. I think it's just the style of flag. If you see these in here, you don't really have to accept them. You can, but like these ones, but it just automatically logs your records and then bumps it up to the next one. So we can only have 2 contracts active at the start. We're starting off with 25,000 funds. So these are active. So if I get these, I can get some rep and some funds, and that'll help us out. So let's see what we have here. We have launch our first vessel. So of course we're going to take that one. So we'd like to officially start off the space program with a bang. A very controlled bang, preferably. So let's accept that contract and then gather scientific data from Kerbin. I think we can do that one as well on our first launch. So we'll accept that contract. Right now we have 0 science, and we're right in the middle with our rep. We're kind of in the neutral zone there. So we have our contracts. Let's close this and let's go to the VAB. Up here is the clock. You can see that's a bond. That's Kerbal alarm clock, and that'll help me track and coordinate various missions all at the same time. So instead of launching to Duna and doing the whole mission all at once, we can launch it, and then this will remind us when it's time to go back. So I'll try and run it more like a space program. They don't just do one launch and one thing at a time. They've got various missions going on simultaneously. So let's build our first rocket. When you get into the VAB, you got Werner here. Gives you a little brief introduction. If you're having trouble, they did revamp the tutorials on the beginning, so when you go to start a game, there were scenarios and tutorials, and you can do some of the tutorials. There's lots of YouTubers, Scott Manley, a bunch of others that put up a lot of tutorial type stuff. He's one of the most popular. But let's get started. Let's see. We're going to need a command pod. We don't have a whole lot of parts. This window is Kerbal Engineer. Kerbal Engineer gives you a lot of different information. let's see, we can make it expanded. In regards to your spacecraft, there was, the developer said that they were going to put in a delta V setting to show you your delta V when you're building your rocket, so that you would know whether or not you'd be able to get where you want to go, if you know how much delta V you need. That's a lot of math and stuff, but if you have a finite number like I think it's 3,500 to 4,000 delta V is enough to get you into orbit. Some people can do it with a little bit less. It depends on the spacecraft design. There's all these different variables that you got to mess with. So, but I put it in there because it does give you a lot of useful information. So we started. We have our capsule, and what other parts do we have? We have no fuel tanks. We have a solid fuel booster, the Flea. That is the only motor that we have. Solid fuel. It's on and it just stays on. Once you light it, it's like a bottle rocket. You can't control the burn or throttle or anything like that. It just goes and just burns. We have nothing to control it. Structurally, we have a girder segment we could put on there. It's not really necessary. I don't know why they start you off with that. I guess so you can just put a bunch of crazy stuff on it right from the start if you want to. Aerodynamics, it does have fins. I don't think we're going to need a fin, and everything costs money right now. We're spending that much on what we have on the rocket right now. For utility, we will need a parachute. And then science, let's see. This is a Kerbal Engineer computer flight unit. I think it just gives you a bunch of information as you go. Same with this one. I don't really know what the differences are, but if you notice, you don't even get an antenna to start. But you do get mystery goo, and they changed the size of the mystery goo. So let's do this. Why does it always want me to show more info? That must be Kerbal Engineer. Gives you that kind of information. I wonder if I can turn that stuff off. Nah, I'm not gonna worry about it. So let's put a couple of these on here. And then the way they stick out, let's see if we can offset them just a bit. Too far. How about this guy? Drop him there. There we go. We just kind of recess them into the sides there, and they should still work. So let's give this spacecraft a name, and in keeping with Harvester's original log of Kerbal exploits, when they were launching tinfoil men on bottle rockets, they called it the Kerbal log. So we'll call this Kerbal 1. There. So we have nothing else to go with, except we come down here and check our engineer. Parachute's on the first stage, so we don't want that. So we'll move that booster, move the booster down to there. And unused monopropellant. We could take that out, but we don't really need to. I fully intend to recover this vessel, and we're not going to use it, so we should get full coverage for that. I wonder if this will change anything though. We take out the monopropellant. I don't think it changed really anything. But there's nothing concerning about this vessel. So let's pick our pilot. We'll save Valentina for our first orbit, and we'll just have Jed stay in as the first pilot. So we'll save this craft and launch. So before we launch, if we hit Alt L, Alt L will stage lock. So if you accidentally bump the space bar, it won't do anything. Or if that's kind of a pink color there, you don't have to worry about it. Because first, let's see if we can do some science. So I'm going to observe the mystery goo and observation from the launch pad. So I'm going to keep that data. And I'm going to do a crew report right here on the launch pad. And it gives me 1.5 science, but it's still science. So we're going to keep that. And now, let's see if we can do this without falling out. Let's EVA Jeb. So while he's kind of standing on that ladder, I'm going to do an EVA report. You can only EVA if you're on the surface before we upgrade the astronaut complex, I think. So, but his EVA while flying over the shores, because I guess he's flying. So we're going to keep that data. And then we're going to take what's in there. We're going to take what's in there. Yeah, we want to remove it. And then we're going to climb right back in board. So there we go. We've already got some science. We haven't recovered it yet though. Oh, so up here in this bar, I'm running Kerbal Engineer. I don't have a part on the craft though, so I don't think it's going to give me any information on the craft, but I don't really need that now. I'm running the Chatterer mod, so we got the background chatter, because that's just cool. I got my clouds up. I did get rid of that scatterer. It looked really cool on the ground, but it kind of made it look weird up in space. So, and then this Rover Dude did a life support mod. Very basic. He treated it as stock. And basically, you have supplies, NOMs, non-organic meal substitute, something like that. But it basically just a can full of supplies, and if they run out of supplies, they don't die. They just quit working. They kind of go on vacation. So you can't control anything. You can't put them out on EVA. You can't do any of that stuff. So it's just kind of a really basic kind of support, life support thing. But Jeb and all the orange suits, all your veterans, they'll consume supplies, but they're just so good at what they do, so dedicated that if they run out of supplies, they'll just keep working. So, and then Kerbal alarm clock. So we're ready to launch our first vessel. I don't know if we have SAS or not, but I'll enable it because it's habit. Throttle doesn't matter with this one. So we're going to launch 3, 2, 1, launch. Oh, and I have my stage lock on. So Alt L, unlock the stage. Good to go. That was kind of anticlimactic, wasn't it? So launch in 3, 2, 1. There we go. We'll do a little bit of a tilt. And we'll do a crew report while he's flying over the shores. And keep that one. And the mystery goo, we'll observe that while flying at Kerbin, and we'll keep that. So we got our altitude record. We have all these contracts. We'll go over those in just a sec. Let's right up to the clouds. So now we're starting to drop. Let's stage our chute. Turn off our SAS. And a very straightforward, simple booster test, basically. that little flea booster becomes obsolete almost immediately. It's, I think, basically just for this very first launch. So let's compress time just a little bit, slow it down before we hit 500. The chute slowly opens up. Wow, that was pretty slow, but it was enough time. So let's speed this up just a bit. And we're down. So I think we got all the science that we need to get, because I think we're still on the shores. So an EVA and a crew report won't do a whole lot. So let's recover Jeb. And recover the vessel. And here we go. We earn 25.5 science, 25.6 from our science and reports. And then we earned science also from our contracts. Let's see. Let me look at our contracts. No, I can't move those around. Can I move this? Yeah. Oh, yeah, I can. So, we got scientific data from Kerbal. So we got funds from that, some science and some rep. So we set an altitude record. We set a speed record. And set another speed record. And we launched our first vessel. So we completed that contract. So the Kerbal 1, we got all that science. We recovered virtually all of our parts with the exception of our solid fuel, which we used for our burn. And we recovered Jeb. So we bumped up our reputation, got some cash, and got some science. So first little launch goes pretty quick. You can get quite a bit of science just from the start. And I think I'll call that an episode. And hope to see you again on the next one. I am going to try and keep this as a series. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. And hope to see you next time. Bye.